We've got less than a month to Election Day, but voting already is underway by mail-in ballot. And then by November 8th, every voter in South Florida is going to be able to choose their member of Congress.
One of those districts stretches from Miami-Dade all the way across the Everglades to Naples. It's now District 26 after redistricting. It got a new number, where voters have re-elected their rep for the last 20 years. Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart is that rep. He is now South Florida's most senior member of Congress at such a young age, and is now running for re-election again. Congressman, great to have you aboard.
We're so glad that you are here, Congressman.
So let's start with
both of you.
Hi. So let's start with news of the week, because the January 6th Commission this week voted to subpoena former President Donald Trump after laying out a lot of evidence and video and testimony about what happened on January 6th. If you were advising the former president, would you tell him to testify?
You know, I think that I said it before, that commission, that committee is frankly bogus. It was created in a party line way. The Republicans weren't allowed to even name people to that commission. Those that were named were not allowed to be there by Nancy Pelosi. So, Glenn, here's what I would recommend anybody to do, and particular the leadership in D.C. Focus on the things that are important to the American people. Inflation is out of control. Gasoline prices continue to rise. The world is as dangerous as it's ever been. I mean, you know, President Biden said that we're closer to Armageddon, nuclear Armageddon, than we have been since the missile crisis, right? Those are the issues that the American people care about. And yet, in Washington, they're focusing on other things, trying to change the subject.
Congressman, before we get into the talking points, I really want to give you another chance to answer that. Despite, to your point, how the commission was created, they have presented thousands of interviews. They have presented video. They have evidence. Former President Trump's own top advisors among them. So in the here and now, there is this subpoena. Yay or nay? What would you advise?
I wouldn't do it because it's a totally illegitimate committee.
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't quite
get it. I wouldn't do it because it's a totally illegitimate, false, circus committee. I think giving it any relevance or giving it any, doing anything that would potentially make it look a little bit more credible is not good for the process, for democracy, and for the American people.
Yeah. Well, let me just point out, and I'm not an advocate here, but at their first meeting of this January 6th committee, when it was televised, more than 20 million Americans watched it. Millions more have watched the subsequent 6 meetings of this committee. And you were dismissing it as just simply unimportant, irrelevant, unfair?
Michael, remember that they hired producers who do movies and big-time shows in order to do that.
They wanted to make it good TV. Yeah, they wanted to make it good TV.
This is great TV, but it's actually an absolutely farce. It is a Roman circus. It is a show meant to distract, change the subject from the issues. Look, don't take my word for it. I mean, you guys know what's going on. Ask the American people what is relevant, and what is relevant in their lives is what is happening that is hurting them because of the policies of this administration, of one-party rule, of the radical left controlling everything. They're trying to change the subject. They literally hired, as you all know, producers, big-time
from ABC News
to create a good TV show. It's a sitcom, unfortunately, is what it is.
No, Congressman, I would simply point out that what concerns the American people, and I'm sure we'll talk in a minute more about inflation and the economy, the state of the world. But the fact is that a huge majority of Americans are concerned and angry and anxious about an attempt to overthrow a legitimate election, which is what this commission is looking into.
Michael, except for the fact that if they were really serious about that issue, they would also be looking at when in 2016, even members of that commission said that the election was illegitimate. If they were really serious, they would be actually looking at when, for example, folks went in and took over the state capitol in other states, trying to stop the legislatures from moving forward. Again, this is a one-sided, absolutely one-sided, false show on an issue that what the issue is important, but they're not treating it as a real issue. This is a farce. It's a partisan witch hunt. Not that the issue isn't important, but if they really were serious about it, they would they wouldn't put on the commission those that said that the 2016 election was fake, was stolen. Among those, by the way, that was saying that was the current Vice President of the United States. And yet, for some reason, that doesn't seem to be important. It's only a one-sided effort.
Congressman, always appreciate your perspective on everything. Let's get it on your district lines. For the district that you represent now are changed, not so much, but a little bit, and now include a lot of the Miami Eastern neighborhoods, Wynwood and Allapattah, things that you haven't represented in your 20 years in Congress. So issues, watching the lines is really interesting because now there are neighborhoods that have very different priorities from neighborhoods that may be in the same district. So broaden the campaign a little bit and talk about how to represent a much more diverse district with many different priorities from each other.
Yeah, I'm used to doing that, and my record, and what I've always run on, is my record of getting things done, not getting involved in these partisan battles up in DC, but getting things done. Look, even in the New York Times, not exactly a conservative beacon, right? In a hit piece that they did last week, hitting the Republicans, they had to admit that I have brought billions and billions of dollars to Florida and to South Florida for things that are important. By the way, I would add that you all have always reported on the issues that I've gotten done for this community.
Always, and always will.
Yeah. No, you've all been fair in that sense.
Well, good. Congressman, one of your, I think, things in the plus column for me, and I think a lot of people, has been your very strong support for Everglades Restoration. Over the years, you have worked with Democrats. You and Elsie Hastings were close on this issue. You've worked with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And I think that, that is to your credit. At the same time, you have taken some money, campaign money, from Big Sugar. How do you reconcile that?
Well, again, you mentioned the things that I've been doing. I've had a record of getting things done. I've taken campaign contributions from farmers. I've taken campaign contributions from environmental groups. And then I make the decision that I think is right for the people of Florida. And as you mentioned, my record speaks for itself. Look, Michael, there are very few people, not only in Florida, members of Congress, but in the entire country, that have a record that is better than mine for getting things done. And I don't pay attention as to what groups out there may say. I look at what is the right thing to do. I get things done. And what I do is I work on bipartisan or nonpartisan solutions to real problems. And on that record, on getting things done for the people of Florida, particularly South Florida, nobody in Congress, no one has a better record of getting things done in a real concrete way. Again, as I mentioned before, and you did as well, you've all been very, very fair in covering some of those things that I've gotten done for Florida. One last point on that. I have more issues, more funding, more successes in the current appropriation bill on THUD than even the Democratic chairman who chairs that committee. Why? Because I work in an effective way, and I succeed. And I plan, if people want me to continue to work on solutions, not on rhetoric, which is all you hear, mostly coming from Washington, D.C.
We will stipulate that, on the Appropriations Subcommittee, where you are the ranking member, you're very effective. Thanks very much, Mario Diaz-Balart. Always good to speak with you.
Ditto.
Good to see you both.